Faith, it's so good to be with you on Pastor Talk. I have somebody new to introduce to you this week that many of you may not have ever met, but you need to. This is Glen Moore. He's our business administrator here at the church, and I asked Glen to be with me for Pastor Talk because we want to talk money. But first, I want you to get to know Glen a little bit. Glen, tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, the Lord brought me to faith after almost 20 years on the mission field in Africa, doing business, supporting a bunch of families across 20-something countries at one point, and with houses and cars and dealing with the government and all that kind of thing. And so it's just been fun to see how God has led, continued the calling. We took a little early retirement from the mission field, and we kept looking. Okay, God, what do you have? And here I am. And so, goodness, it's 4 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, it goes fast.
Yeah, it
so
does.
Anyway, nice to meet you all through the camera.
That's right. That's right. And we, Faith, are so blessed that God chose to tap Glen on the shoulder and say, this might be a good place for you. As our business administrator, he oversees all kinds of things, from the little tiniest details to our big budget. And that's one of the things we wanted to talk to you about. Glen and I actually love the money talk. And so I asked him to come and share with us a little bit about the budget process here at Faith, because we are right in the middle of preparing our budget for 2022. So, Glen?
Yeah. What we do is we take a look at how things are going. What has the giving been? What has God moved Faith to give? And we look at that as the provision. So from there, we look at sort of a trend. How have things been going? How have we been doing spending in various categories? And I just want to take this time to say how much I appreciate. The staff has been wonderful at conserving this year and even last year during the pandemic. I just want you to know how great a stewards they've been.
Yeah.
I want to highlight that for you. I asked them as we come into the budget process, pray, what's God called you to do? Mm-hmm. And then figure out what it would take to do that ministry. And I think that's so important, that we start with what does God have for me, and now what do I need to do that? And, praise the Lord, we've been able to fund everything that the program staff has said. This is what we need to be able to fulfill our ministry. And so we thank you and we thank the Lord for that. So that's how we ramp up and get ready. So as we looked at 2022, I've got to share with you, 2021 has been a difficult year. We've not had the total income that we expect. However, I'm excited to report that in the last few weeks, it's really stepped up. And so that's a thank you. It's a real blessing. So that is helping us as we craft the 2022 budget, and trying to be conservative and realistic, and yet fund everything that Faith is so good at doing ministry-wise.
Yeah, and we are looking at a finance committee meeting on Monday the 15th of November, and we'll be taking our first real look at the 2022 budget. Mm-hmm. Normally at this point in the year, we're doing a stewardship campaign, which means that we ask you, Faith, what is your intent to give for the coming year? And you write that on a commitment card. Glen and I talk a lot about how that is really heart work. It's not head work. We're doing that through prayer and asking God, what is the commitment God would call us to make? And last year was a little difficult. When we did our stewardship campaign, we were right in the middle of a pandemic. Most of our folk had not made it back into the building yet, and our stewardship campaign really did not give us the information we needed for the budget crafting. But what Glen and I know is that's not what it's for anyway. It's really for you to take that internal look at what God is calling you to do. So we are planning to have a stewardship emphasis probably early in 2022, early spring or late spring, so that we can ask you to invest in what the church is doing. So we're not going to be doing that in the fall. We'll be doing that in the spring, which means that our budget for 2022 will be crafted really on how we've done this year and how we think we might do next year. So we just want to give you a little update on where we are with that, and then talk a little bit about giving methods.
Sure.
There's lots of ways people give to the church. What do you think is best, Glen?
Well, we try to make it as easy as possible.
Right.
And we do that in a number of different areas. But if you want to maximize the value of your gift, The best way that you can do that is through our ACH program. That's something that Lori and I administer, we have complete control over, and we can draft out of a bank account either on the 5th or the 20th or both, depending on your pay schedule. And anyway, that is no cost, so that everything that you give to the church goes for what you think it's going to. A second way, if you want to give on an automatic basis, is to set up sort of a bill pay program if your bank offers that, where they automatically generate a check and mail it to us. It doesn't cost us anything to process checks. So whether you're writing a personal check or it's a bill pay check, that again is the full value of what you're giving. Now, in some cases, some prefer to put it on a credit card for convenience, and so we offer that. But remember, we have to pay the fee on that. And even the fee, some have been very gracious to say online, yeah, let me go ahead and cover the fee. It doesn't exactly cover it, but it definitely helps. So anyway, we want to make that available to you, but we'd really prefer ACH or the bill pay through checks. I know my kids, being millennials, they're not big check writers, and I get that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And so we do want to have electronic ways for you to give.
Well, I give by ACH, Faith. And what I know about that is whenever I want to change the amount that I'm giving to Faith, I go to Lori and I say, Lori, give me the form. It's a paper form, but we have it available by PDF. And you fill that out, give us your bank account information, and then the draft changes the next time around, whether it's coming up the 5th or the 20th. Is there anything that we need to know about how to give by ACH, anything other than filling out the form?
It's really just to fill out the form. If you have a check to put with it, that gives us just confidence that we've got the correct routing number and account number, but It's not a requirement. So you can do an ACH draft even if you don't write checks.
Okay. All right. So, Faith, think about that. If you want the church to get the maximum value out of your contribution and you want to know that it's being taken care of on a regular basis so that we're receiving that income, throughout the year in equal amounts, you can, you can do an ACH draft out of your bank account. You can also set that up as a bill pay through your bank, or you can just write a check. You can bring it on Sundays and put it in the offering plate. You can mail it to the building. And of course, we're going to continue to provide credit card options for people to give as well. All right, well, I want to take just a moment, Faith, to tell you a little bit about the sermon that will be coming up this Sunday. We are in a series called Doorway to Faith, and it's considering how our doubts can sometimes actually be a doorway to our faith. And so I found one of my favorite quotes from Anne Lamott, and I'll share that with you today as we close. This is from her book, Plan B, Further Thoughts on Faith. She says, I have a lot of faith, but I'm also afraid a lot. And I thought, I experienced that too.
Especially with money.
Yeah. True,
so
for
fitting.
Sure. But I'm also afraid a lot and have no real certainty about anything. I remembered something Father Tom said to me, that the opposite of faith is not doubt, it's certainty. Certainty is missing the point entirely. Faith includes noticing the mess, the emptiness, the discomfort, and letting it be there until some light returns. So we'll be sharing a little bit more about that in the sermon on Sunday. We're praying for you, Faith, as you consider your gifts to the church and as you consider your faith.